Legends tell of a race of sea people who once lived in harmony with our small village. It was a prosperous time, a peaceful time, but nothing lasts forever. While delving in ancient aquatic ruins, the sea folk found a golden idol and brought it before their king. The gold had been wrought into the likeness of a two-headed simian creature, but curiously it had tentacles for arms and scaled web feet. If only they had known the horror that would follow. As if sentient, it was said the idol could whisper into your mind if you but placed your hand upon it. A terrible price was paid for a seemingly innocent act. All who touched the idol went mad, and the ruler, in their incoherent ramblings, ordered a massive sacrifice of their people in order to open a portal to a place called the Abyss. The ocean was so thick with the blood of the massacred that you couldn't see anything else, but an ominous presence suddenly filled the minds of all nearby. The sea people had succeeded in opening their portal. By the time we could go investigate, nothing remained but the corpses of the fallen, floating lifelessly when they were not attacked by hungry scavengers, drawn by the blood in days past. That was the last time the sea folk were seen. Or so we thought. In recent days, our fishing vessels have been attacked by gigantic brutes resembling the sea folk of old. Stories from survivors tell of a group no more than 15 that have defiled the sea folk's former home with the familiarity of those who have returned from a long journey. In correspondence with other villages, we all share stories of night raids where our people are taken by horrible sea monsters and never seen again. We have sent envoys down to our once friends to plead for reason, but none have ever returned alive. It is with great sorrow that the decision to kill those who were once our friends falls to our stalwart leader, Hans III.
It's time to go get some fish sticks, yeah?
Welcome back to a Compendium of Monsters. It's Merrow week. Before we continue, stab that subscribe button and let the blood summon Demogorgon, Demon Prince of Madness. Merrow are challenge level 2, and they really combine two things I'm not fond of, the ocean and aquatic creatures. These medium monstrosities have an armor class of 13, average hit points of 45, a speed of 10 feet, a swimming speed of 40 feet, and dark vision out to 60 feet. Merrow speak two languages, Abyssal and Aquan. You know, I'm not sure I really need to explain why. Merrow are unsurprisingly amphibious, which allows them to breathe both air and water without a care in the world. Merrow have a basic multi-attack that allows them to make one bite attack and then choose between using its claws or its harpoon. A bite attack deals an average of 8 piercing damage, the claw attack deals an average of 9 slashing damage, and the harpoon deals an average of 11 piercing damage. Assuming the ranged capability of the harpoon wasn't enough to sell you on it, the Merrow can force a creature struck by a harpoon into a strength contest. If a creature loses, the Merrow pulls it up to 20 feet in the Merrow's direction. While Mero are vile creatures, they weren't always as they appear now. A tribe of merfolk stumbled upon a mysterious idol and brought it before their king. The idol was created in the likeness of Demogorgon, Demon Prince of Madness, because of f***ing course it was! In the gathered presence of humanoids, the idol activated a shard of Demogorgon's essence and proceeded to inflict madness on any who touched it. Of course, everyone had to touch it. It's like those horror movies when the murderer is clearly nearby, but people keep making stupid decisions like going off alone. Hello? This thing makes you crazy when you touch it. Do not f***ing touch it. It's not that hard. The madness was so pervasive that the king ordered a ritual be performed to open a gate to the abyss. Naturally, the ritual required the wholesale slaughter of merfolk, because why wouldn't it? The blood-soaked waters revealed a portal to Demogorgon's domain, and the maddened merfolk went through, only to suffer. The Abyss is not a kind place to its existing denizens, and the merfolk learned quickly they could either fight constantly to stay alive or die screaming to one of Demogorgon's children. The Abyss has a corrupting influence that gradually warps creatures who spend too long inside its borders. The merfolk gradually became creatures that could survive optimally in the Abyss, so Demogorgon did the thing any sensible demon lord would. He waited for a moment to send an incursion of Merrow onto the material plane to wreak havoc in his name. Merrow on the material plane are serious assholes and completely parasitic in their relationships with nearby creatures. Merrow kill any creatures they perceive as weak and feast on the body. A Merrow's lair is often filled with treasures and trophies taken from victims or sunken ships. Here's my only point of contention with the descriptive text for a Merrow. The fact that Merrow tie the rotting bodies of their victims to strands of kelp to mark the boundaries of their territory. I don't know how many of you spend time below the surface of the ocean, but one of those things you won't find much of are corpses or bones. Why? Well, the ocean has a very efficient cleanup crew and they quickly find and consume cadavers. Here are some examples of scavengers that would drive Merrow up the cliff face by eating the boundary markers. Crabs, eels, lobsters, shrimp, osedax worms, sharks. You get it. What about the bones? Scavengers don't eat bones. You're correct. Osedax worms eat bones and have done so for the last 125 million-ish years. Regardless of how pedantic I might get, I just think it would be a lot more effective for a Merrow to mark its boundary with some stupid ritual carving crap that literally everyone else uses because bodies tied to kelp just don't make sense. Unfortunately for a Merrow, its intelligence score is an 8, so it might just be dumb enough not to realize there are better alternatives. Merrow is borrowed from the Irish Merrow, which translates into mermaid, merman, merperson. In order to travel between the deep sea and dry land, the Merrow of Irish folklore required a magical hat that could be stolen by a sneaky human. As is typical of patriarchal folklore, men could marry mermaids by depriving them of their magical red cap, as written in Thomas Crofton Croker's Lady of Gallerus in 1825. So long as the cap was hidden, the mermaid could not return to the sea. Though this is not to say she would never return there. In John O'Hanlon's 1870 book titled Irish Folklore, Traditions and Superstitions of the Country, there is a chapter named The Merrow Maiden and Merrow Man. In addition to describing a merperson's physical attributes, O'Hanlon can be partially summarized by the following.
But after some years in succession, they will almost inevitably return to the sea, their natural instincts irresistibly overcoming any love bond they may have formed with their terrestrial family.
There is an extreme emphasis on keeping a Merrow's magical hat from her possession, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had her children help her regain her hat at some point. Also, maybe don't get married to someone you're keeping against their will. I didn't think it had to be said, but yeesh. Before I end this video, I'd love to share an amusing assessment of Merrow as they appear in Dungeons & Dragons. This is on Wikipedia, so someone else wrote it and it has the potential to change, but I don't know if I want it to.
Merrow have appeared in the core rules of various classic editions of the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. They are essentially just aquatic ogres, and thus only the British male Merrow of the real-world mythology are properly represented therein.
But tell us how you really feel. Anyways, what do you think of Merrow? Have you encountered any Merrow or merfolk in a sea-based campaign? Let me know in the comments below. A special thank you to my incredible patrons. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, share my video on your Twitter, Facebook, or other social media, and make the leap to become one of my patrons on Patreon. I'll see you next time.